I know she'll cover that in there as well, so we'll get plenty of scholarly for it. Good. Yes, ma'am?
I think I read it's good for 3 years.
It's
I
good
know
for
someone asked that.
Oh, okay. I'll double check that, because I think Dr. Kay might, her thing being expired, so she might be taking it with us. So, I was going to try to take it ahead of time, but with things going so crazy here, I don't think I'm going to be able to. So I'll probably be taking it with you guys there. So once again, who can beat the king there? If you beat my score, then that's something you can brag about the rest of your life, and you can hold over my head 20 years from now. No, what I beat you. Anybody have any questions on anything? Chi exam? We're paying for it? Okay. Anybody have any questions on anything else? Test? Guys, doing really well. I want to say I've been very pleased. This is for Chi exams, so I've been very pleased with. Your test performance. You guys have been doing really well, most people. And this last time around, I think everyone got full points for their multiple choice. There were 1 or 2 people may have gotten short on the answer, which always takes off points. But you guys clearly knew what you were talking about. You gave me examples. So whatever you're doing right now for multiple choice questions, except for those 1 or 2 of you that I put comments on, hey, give me a little bit more.
You mean the short answer question?
Yeah, that's the short answer questions. Yes, the short answer questions. You all seem to know what I'm looking for, and of course, that's going to continue. All right. Might be a short night tonight, so we'll see. We got a lot to cover, but if we're engaged and we participate, we can get through it and probably get out of here, not take the full amount of time. I might let you out 5 minutes early. I'm just kidding. We'll see how it goes. But you don't mind. You're learning stuff, right? This is, it's not bad when you're learning stuff. And so, in keeping that in mind, tell me something interesting from the last class. Look at your notes. Tell me something interesting you learned. Is particularly useful or has value. Yes, Your Majesty, the Queen of the phones there.
Rate parity because of the metabolism.
Yeah, rate parity. What's rate parity? And sum it up in 1 sentence.
The rate is consistent for all the
Wherever you look, the rate is consistent through all the distribution channels. So from the customer standpoint, the rate is the same. Is the rate the same to the hotel? No, why not?
Because there's cost and fees associated.
Yes, cost and fees. And we're going to do an exercise today in class that's really going to show you how to figure out what those costs and fees are. And, okay, what's the better piece of business? And it's really a fun exercise. Not only is it a fun exercise, it's going to be on the final. So you better take the exercise seriously, and when you study for the final, you definitely want to make sure you do it again. It's in your book. I just made copies to kind of help you out. You can draw and make notes on it or whatever. So good. What else did you learn? Something interesting. Come on, don't be shy. We're going to get out of here, right? Yes, sir.
Even the central reservation system for hotels, you have to pay a fee.
Someone's got to pay those salaries for those people, right? And so, yeah, even central reservations. Now, in your estimation, looking at all the different distribution costs, is that really high or really low?
It's a real low fee.
It's a real low fee. So if you're not going to get them direct, it's probably second best to get through CRS. And we're going to see that again today. Good. Give me one more thing. Come on, we're going to get out of here, right? One more thing. Yes, ma'am.
If you're dealing with a wholesaler, it can be a deal with them.
You're so cynical. You sound like me. You're right. You sup with the devil. You take a long spoon. Why, in your estimation?
Because you're going to get a low ball number every time, no matter what. And you have to do it, even if you're expecting a high occupancy.
Yeah. You basically say, here's what your rate's going to be all year long. and I'm going to add to that, and I think I may have touched on it last class if I didn't. When they buy those rooms and they resell those rooms, you have no control over what they resell that room at. And you're like, well, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is it could cut both ways. They could really sell those rooms really low. If you're selling at $100 and you gave them at $50 and they have to recoup their cost, they may be selling those rooms at $50. And so the word gets out there, wait a minute, you know, the Hilton's selling rooms at $50. And so that's a danger. You want to protect yourself against that. On the other side of that, if they think the demand's going to be really high, and their revenue managers are going to jack the price up. Now, do you work at a hotel? What hotel do you work at?
The Loft.
The Loft. What's a pretty high rate for the Loft?
This week's pretty high for the Masters week, so I've seen some 400 bucks a week.
Okay. 400. What happens if you sell, do you have wholesalers in your Loft?
I haven't seen any, but
If, let's say you did, and they know it's Masters Week, and there's no rooms anywhere, and they charge $2,000 a night. Guest checks in, right? I'm sure people right now are even saying $400 a night for a Loft?
yeah, like all the business travelers are like, what?
What?
Can't do that, yeah.
Yeah. As mad as they are, can you imagine someone paying $2,000 a night? They'd be like, this is not a $2,000 a night hotel. Well, you got to talk to the wholesaler because we don't determine that rate. What do you mean you don't determine that rate? Blah, blah, blah. You understand? You lose control of your rate. And again, so you might want to make sure you have some type of rate parity in your contract with the wholesaler saying you can't if you sell our rooms for a rate under than what we do parity, it has to be bundled or packaged so someone can't break out what that individual rate is. Make sense? All good conversations. All right. So we are going to, let's jump right into the exercise. Everyone has one of these, right? We're going to do this together. Take your calculators out. You don't have one? Take your calculators out because we are going to do this together as a group. No, there's 2 pages. Yeah, 2 pages. Okay? And so we're gonna do this as a group exercise, and we're gonna all read and take our calculators and work this out. All right, so are you ready? Everyone go to page 300. This is in your book, by the way. Okay? So you want to make sure, for those of you who are viewing us on camera, this is in your book, page 300. All right, I'll start, and then Thomas, you're next. After apply what you know. Joel Lieberman is the revenue manager at City Center Plaza, a 300-room franchise hotel. He's evaluating alternative options regarding the allocation of 100 unsold guest rooms in the 3rd weekend of next month. His property's group sales department believes, but not positive, that they can sell 80 guest rooms, group rooms, for the day at the rate of $185 per room. The hotel front office manager believes that if the 100 rooms are listed on the deals at this hotel page of the franchisor-operated property website with a 25% discount off the hotel's normal $229.99 rack rate, 90 rooms might sell through CRS. The sale would apply only to buyers willing to agree that the room would be billed to the guest at the time of purchase and could not be canceled. Thomas.
UberHotels.com, a third-party merchant model operator, is willing to pay the hotel $160 for each room it purchases, but wants a commitment from the hotel that it would be able to buy and then resell up to 100 rooms. It believes it can do so if it lists the rooms as open to all buyers and at a rate of $172.99 per night. Joel already has 200 rooms sold for this specific night at the hotel's rack rate. Assume that each distribution channel produces as projected. Complete the following revenue estimate report and answer the questions that follow.
All right, this is a fun exercise because this is real life. If you become a revenue manager at a hotel, You're going to have to make decisions. And you're going to have a way to make decisions. This is a worksheet. And basically, to tell you what this exercise is about, you're going to have 3 business options. You have to make the decision who you're going to give the rooms to. Are you going to let it go through the reservation system? Are you going to let it go through an OTA? Are you going to allocate the rooms to the group sales department? This is real life, folks. This is what revenue managers do all the time. So how do you make the decision? You collect all the information, you run the numbers, and the numbers will tell you exactly what to do. Numbers don't lie. Okay, so write all over the sheet. I want you to write, star, make notes to yourself. Let's start. And the best way that I do this is I fill out across this way. Okay? So I'm going to do this with you. Get a pen. Maybe I will. Okay. Anyways, go down to the worksheet. It says previously booked revenue 200 rooms at $229.99. Okay. You're going to fill in those 3 boxes. So, somebody tell me real quick, we're going to do the first box. What are we going to multiply to get the number that we need in there? What are we going to multiply? Don't overcomplicate.
The rooms booked times the record.
Simple as that. Simple as that. 200 times the 229.99. Anybody done that yet? What do you got?
45,998.
Is that what everyone has? Say that again.
45,998.
Okay, go ahead and fill in that first box there. Everyone got that? All right, so how do we calculate the second box? Anybody? Don't overthink it. It's exactly the same. It doesn't change. It's how many rooms you have on the books right now and what's the revenue. So what's going to go in there? The exact same number. Don't overcomplicate it, folks. Okay? So fill in all 3 boxes across with the same number. What is it? $45,998. What does this mean? You've got a 300-room hotel. You've got 200 rooms on the books at this rate. This is what is known as booked, right? In RevSim, what's that called? What's the little thing off to the left there? Was it on the books? Or booked?
Yeah, on the book.
On the books. That's on the books. This is booked already. This is your base business. You don't have to chase it, it's there. Does everyone understand what that is? All right. Now it gets really interesting. The next box is estimated channel revenue contribution. Now you got to go back and start figuring this out. The first one is group sales. Who can tell me what the 2 numbers you're going to need from group sales is? Don't tell me the numbers, just tell me what you need.
Number
Amount of rooms and the rate.
Number of rooms and rates. Simple as that, folks. Now, who can tell me, going back to the narrative, how many rooms does group rooms think they can give us? 80. At what rate?
185.
185. What number do you think you're going to put in there?
185 times 80.
Don't overcomplicate it. That's exactly what you're going to do. How much revenue is group rooms going to give us? It's 80 times the 180. Was it 185? Yeah, 80 times the 185. Everyone see that? It's really, when you do it step by step, you know what you're doing? It's simple math. It's going to be so simple, you're going to say, really? But you would be shocked at how many people at a hotel wouldn't be able, if you gave them this problem, they wouldn't be able to figure it out. They would not be able to figure it out. You, on the other hand, okay, so, is it going to be the same for CRS sales? Of course not. There's a different set of circumstance for CRS sales. So, for CRS sales, same thing. Number of rooms times what they think the rate's going to be. What's the number of rooms you think you can get for CRS? Everyone knows what CRS stands for, right? Central Reservation System. How many rooms they say you can give them? 90 at what rate? Now you got to do a little bit of math, okay? So start with the rate. What's 25% off of the, was it $229.99?
The total would be
57.
172.49.
$172.49, is that what everyone has?
Yeah.
Yep. Times what?
9.
What does that give you? Yep, is that what everyone's got? For right now, go do the decimal points. On your test, there might be some rounding, but you'll know. So does everyone, again, tell me, Jess, tell everyone loud and proud what the number is.
15,524 and 10 cents.
Everyone got that? What you get one?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. Everyone else agree? Does everyone know how we got that number? You take the rack rate times, you can do it that way. You could either take the percent off the total. If there's 25%, what's the quickest way? The rack rate times 70. Why 75%?
Because it's what's left over.
100 minus 25% is 0.75% or 0.75. That'll give you the rate. Then you just multiply that times the number of rooms they say they're going to give you. We got that? Now we go to the third-party merchant. This really isn't an OTA. It's a merchant model. All right? So, how are we going to figure out how much revenue they're going to give us? What's the formula? Rooms times rate. Simple as that. All right? Who can tell me how many rooms they're going to give us? It's Uber Hut Hotels. Great name. 100 rooms at what rate?
160.
160. Pretty easy. What's the total?
60,000.
Yep. Okay, everyone got that? So now, do this. Total rooms revenue estimate. How are you going to get that? Who thinks they know how to get it for each column, not row? What do you do? Don't overcomplicate. Add the two numbers together. Combine the two, yeah, combine the two. Same as that, add them up. So go ahead and do that, down the column. I'm going to start calling on people to tell me what they got. So please make sure you are doing the worksheet. And hit the call and you say, I don't have anything. Okay. Blaine, tell me what you've got for group sales total.
Group sales total, I have 60,798.
Is that what everyone's got? Yep. Nuri, can you tell me what you got for CRS sales?
61,592.75.
Does that right?
325.
325. I'm not doing it, so, I'm relying on you guys to check each other's work. And, Ben, what do you got for third-party merchant?
61,998.
Is that, everyone, did I check out with everyone? Good. All right, right now, who's looking pretty good? If we were just looking at total revenue. Okay. Go ahead and do, now do total rooms sold. How are you going to figure out, let's do group sales together. How are you going to figure out total rooms sold? 200 plus the what? Plus the 80, yeah. So go ahead and do total rooms sold, 280. Do it for CRS sales and third-party merchant as well. If you're not sure, raise your hand and I'll come and help you with it. All right, are we good? Why don't you keep going? Does everyone have it? Let me just look here real quick. Why don't you keep going and fill out ADR, occupancy, and RevPAR. You all remember how to get ADR, occupancy, and RevPAR? You can go back to your notes if you need to. ADR and occupancy is usually really easy. It's okay to look at your notes, trust me. I'd rather you be right and feel good about it than not be right. Don't work ahead. Settle down. You guys are nailing ADR and occupancy. Some of you might be a little hesitant on RevPAR, so I'm going to give you the formula real quick if you can't remember RevPAR. RevPAR is total rooms revenue divided by total rooms available. What's your total rooms available? 300. So it's your total rooms revenue with all channels divided by 300. Where ADR is total rooms revenue divided by total rooms sold. And then occupancy is total rooms, hang on, total rooms sold divided by total rooms available. Again, make sure you know this, because the final will have something very similar to this. So if you nail it, you already know you got a good jump on the final. All right, Megan, can you tell me what we already did total room sold, what the ADRs are going from left to right, slowly and loudly for everyone.
For group sales, I have 217 and 14 cents.
Everyone got that?
And then CRS is $212.15. And third-party merchant, I have $206.66.
Everyone's shaking their head, so I'm assuming that's what everyone got. Deshaun, you want to tell me what the occupancies were going across, please? Left to right.
I got 93, 96, and 100.
Does that sound about right? Who's my brave soul that wants to take on, of course, Thomas. There you go. Tell us what the rep bars are there, Thomas.
For group, I got 202.66, CRS, I have 205.09, and third party, I have 206.66.
Is that good? Everyone shaking their head? Is anybody lost right now? Don't be afraid. I'll come and help you. I want to make sure you get this. Okay. So now what we do, and I should have thought about this. I'm going to turn the page over. There are questions. Okay? Based on best estimates of each channel, which channel would produce the highest ADR? Let's do this as a class. Just yell it out when you know it. Who's got the highest ADR? Everyone agree? Which got the lowest?
Third party.
Third party. So if I were, the owner, and I said, book the thing with the highest ADR, what would you say? Group. Yeah. Okay. So, based on best estimates of channel performance, which would generate the highest occupancy percentage?
Third party.
Which one would be the lowest? Okay. And which is going to be the best according to RevPAR?
Third party.
Which is going to be the lowest? Everyone got that? Now, right now you're saying to me, Professor Smith, what's the difference? Why, just go with the highest revenue, right? Why would we want to go with, just because there are groups that don't have high ADRs, or there's a channel that doesn't have an high ADR, but might have the highest revenue, it just seems axiomatic that you would book the highest revenue, right? No. And now comes the story portion of this. Many years ago, in the world of hotels, you were typically one of two types of owners. Okay. You were either what was known as an occupancy owner, or you were known as an ADR owner. In other words, there were literally owners that would say to the general manager, I want to fill every room. I don't care what the occupancy is. Fill every room every night. Right? I just want a full hotel. Those owners tended to be true hoteliers. If I put myself in that category back then, I would say I would be an occupancy GM or an occupancy owner. I just like the idea of being efficient, filling every hotel room, give my people plenty of work. all of the above. More people in a hotel, more ancillary revenue in restaurants and things like that. So, does anybody think they're an ADR owner? Or think why an owner would say, I don't care what the occupancy is, I just want the highest ADR. Can anybody make a case for that?
Luxury hotels.
Who said that? Okay, why luxury? I don't disagree with you, but
Because they don't want to start giving off a different reputation.
Brand equity.
that's one reason, absolutely. Any other reasons? You're right. But that typically wasn't the reason. I didn't work in a luxury, well, I did work in a luxury hotel, but there were ADR owners who didn't work in a luxury hotel and they still wanted the highest ADR possible, weren't that concerned about occupancy.
Maybe because even if they're not a luxury brand, they want their guests to already know that no matter what's going on, you're going to be paying a higher price to stay at this particular hotel. Whether it's for the location or maybe even just a few of their amenities, they want their guests to already know, look, if you stay here, you're going to pay this
Yeah.
higher price. So
I think that's rate integrity. You don't want to get that reputation of being a discount hotel. Good. Still not the reason I'm looking for. You're not incorrect. I think all owners like more money. I like more money. Can you flesh that out a little bit? Expand upon it? How is that more money?
Less labor?
Okay, less labor, that's a concern. Yeah, I mean, if you clean less hotel rooms, you save on expenses.
Is it a fine trophy?
Not really. It could be, but not. I'm just gonna cut like this. You all gave great reasons. You think you got it?
exclusivity, not particularly that it's luxury, but
It all falls in the umbrella of rate integrity. The people that were ADR, and I'm going to let Rebecca play this one. She comes from a luxury property, and it was all about rate integrity.
yes,
So that everything they're saying is correct.
yes.
There's another reason.
I don't know if I have another reason.
If you are wanting to sell the hotel, some people say, oh, Bing. What are you showing if the rate is really high but the occupancy is at 100%?
We need better marketing.
There's room to grow. Yeah, you should have said it.
I know.
We're at 80% and we're at $200. So if you buy this hotel and you put some effort into it, you can up the occupancy. If you can maintain that rate and up the occupancy, you can actually improve the value of that hotel. These tend to be real estate investors. I would put kind of Donald Trump in that whole thing. Donald Trump is a lot of things, and let's not get into politics now. But Donald Trump is not a hotelier. Let's make this clear. He owns hotels, but he is not a hotelier. What is Donald Trump before he was president? Real estate guy. Donald Trump makes his money off of buying low and selling high. And so what he will do, and what a lot of these real estate hotel type of people will do, will come in and say, I'm gonna buy low and sell high. And one of the ways to perceive people that you get a higher price is to have room for an improvement. And so you can say, look, if you can keep that rate at 200, but go from 80% occupancy to 90% occupancy, you're going to gain millions throughout the year. Does everyone understand that? And so this is the kind of why I'm explaining to you now why different people have different priorities. There might be an owner, which will tell the GM, just want 100% every day. And so if you're the revenue manager of this hotel, and my owner says, I want the highest occupancy, I don't care what rate is, what's your answer going to be, Casey? third-party merchant Uber hot hotels, right? But if your owner's like Donald Trump saying, look, I want the highest ADR, let's not worry about occupancy. What's your answer going to be? Booking. Does that make sense? You starting to see why this worksheet has value and how it works in the real world? Now,
Now, would there be anyone that will go in the middle here for CRS? Or is there?
we're not done, so hold on to that. Now, you're saying, okay, we've covered ADR, we've covered occupancy. What's this RevPAR thing? What's this RevPAR thing? Remember I said, you know, if I would have been in that group 20 years ago, I would have been clearly the occupancy guy. I would have booked Uber hot hotels. But having been more educated, I'm now a RevPAR guy. So if I'm your owner, I say book the highest room with the room with the highest RevPAR. What are you booking? Make sense? What's RevPAR in our own words? What's RevPAR? We went over this last week. It's the tiebreaker. RevPAR is always the tiebreaker. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, and this is a true story. I swear to God, this is one of my favorite stories. Does anybody know where they came up with the concept of RevPAR? You probably would think some guys at MIT or some think tank sat down and put this formula together to do this, create this wonderful number that's going to give you a combination of ADR and occupancy. I would like to believe that, but that is not the truth. Smith Travel, a guy named Randy Smith. I sat across the table from him one day and he told me this story. Smith Travel, we're going to do the star reports. And funny enough, Smith Travel was started in Orlando when I was working in Orlando. I have nothing to do with Smith Travel. I wish I did. I wish I was like heir to the company or whatever. But Randy's just kind of a good old guy. And he's another guy that kind of got lucky. And he would do reports, and we're going to talk about all the reports, but he would sell hotels a report, which is a competition report. And he would charge a fairly good amount of money. And it came out that with the sheet like this. Picture this as just one sheet. And he would do ADR, and he would do occupancy percentage. And people were paying a lot of money for this report for their hotel every month. But there was something about it. Now, this is before computers. This is when everything was faxed to you on a sheet of paper. And someone told him, the general manager took this piece of paper and looked at it and said, man, I just don't feel like I'm getting my money's worth. 2 columns. And 2 columns of information. You're charging me X amount of dollars. Anybody ever seen the Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial where they load you down because they want you to feel like you're getting your dollar's worth? And so he was sitting around and he's thinking, man, I gotta get some other information out there. And they literally made up this statistic called RevPAR. You know what RevPAR is now. I know, it's the funniest story. The whole industry now revolves around RevPAR. If Marriott reports a underreported RevPAR, the stock prices go down. Literally millions of dollars are exchanged based upon what the reported RevPAR is. But it simply started off as, let's just add another column. What can we put on there? I don't know, market demand. No, they already know market demand. I don't know. How about we do this thing called RevPAR? And they literally added the 3rd column, RevPAR, to make everyone feel better about the report they were getting, the one-page report. Yes, ma'am?
So I know that RevPAR is a tiebreaker and it's been added and people, but what is it?
It's an efficiency.
Okay.
And here's why RevPAR came about. Okay? And why this number is important. and for the rest of your life, you'll remember this. Remember those owners that said to you, I don't care what the occupancy is, I just want ADR? Today, let's say you work in a hotel, you become the general manager. I say to the owner, you have to sell 100% every night. If you don't, you're fired. Could you do it?
Yeah,
How could you do it?
I just have to work on my distribution channel.
Yeah, but you make it real simple for you. How much do you charge in a night for a hotel room? What's your average ADR right now?
About 159.
159. Okay. You got to fill every night. What do you do?
Lower.
To what?
Gosh.
100% every night.
Probably like 100. If I want 100%.
Go $5 a night.
Because if he doesn't care about it.
If he doesn't care about rate,
I want to say he doesn't care. Oh, yeah.
yeah, he doesn't care about rate. Could you fill your hotel every night at $5 a night? I could fill a hotel every night at $5 a night. I'd be turning, 20. Let's figure this out. $5 times 30 is what? What do you pay for rent? You could live in a hotel, $5 a night, right? So the answer to the question is, if someone said, I don't care what the rate is, you got to fill every hotel room every night. Could you do it? Sure, $5 a night. Now, I use that as an extreme example, but there were general managers who would walk in and say, rate's too high. Rate's way too high. Lower the rate. You got to fill every night. No. If you're an owner, do you want a GM walking into the sales staff saying, keep lowering the rates, lowering the rates? Heck no. You're undervaluing a hotel and leaving money on the table. But if the directive is fill every hotel room and every night, it could be done. You sacrifice rate. You discount the rate too much to make sure that you fill a hotel every night. Now, let's turn it around. I want the highest ADR in the market every night. I don't care what the occupancy is. Could you do it? Sure. How do you do it?
$1,000 a night.
I mean, you would find out whatever everyone else's ADR is and charge $5 more maybe. And if all you have to do is to have the highest ADR in the market. Let's say yours is 159, so $200. Let's say we were setting a target of $200 a night. How many rooms a night do you have to sell to average $200 a night? One room at $200. Again, do you want the sales staff saying, I don't care how many rooms we sell, we just got to average $200 a night. And so that's where this concept of RevPAR became a tiebreaker. Because how do you know if they're getting better or they're getting worse? You just look at the RevPAR. And again, remember what we said, the deal with RevPAR. RevPAR and ADR are different from occupancy because they are, make sure that's on the test. Relative numbers, which means what? You have to compare them to something else. And what are the two things you typically compare them to, my finance people?
Industry average.
Industry average industry, exactly. So, if you're not sure if the hotel's doing good or worse because the ADR and occupancy are constantly moving all the time, you just look at the RevPAR. If the RevPAR is going up, what can you generally say? They're doing good. The RevPAR is going down,
Not good.
they're not doing so good. Does everyone understand that concept of why it's the tiebreaker? So when people say now to Scott Smith, are you an ADR or an occupancy guy? I say, I'm a RevPAR guy. I'm a RevPAR guy, and I wanted, if I go and I consult in a hotel, one of the first things I say is, I want your RevPAR for the last year, broken down by day. Every day. And I'm going to put it on a chart. I'm going to look at it. And what am I looking for? I see this. I don't like that. I'm also is going to pull the star report for your area and compare your RevPAR with everybody else's. This is, you know, to see what your competition is doing. Make sense? So everyone understand how important RevPAR is and why we look at ADR and occupancy separately. Now, because again, if I'm looking at a hotel and ADR is going up but occupancy is going down, is that good or bad?
Wait, say that again?
If occupancy is going up but ADR is going down, is that good or bad? Yeah, you look at the RevPAR. You can't look at ADR and occupancy, you know, and they're all constantly moving like this, and you're like, I don't know, ADR's up, but occupancy, just look at the RevPAR, people. Does that make sense? Now, here's what I do. Seriously, I don't actually go in and look at RevPAR first. I look at ADR. Okay, and if ADR is going up, that's good. Then I look at occupancy. If occupancy is going up, that's good. Do I have to look at RevPAR? No, why? You don't have to look at, you know, what do you know automatically? If ADR is going up and occupancy is going up, RevPAR is going up. It's axiomatic. Self-evident. Or, if ADR is going down and occupancy is going down, do I need to look at RevPAR? No, what do you know already? It's going down. But if you've got a combination there of ups and downs, yeah, you don't know. What's the quickest way to do it? Just look at RevPAR. You understand now why RevPAR is important? And prior to like 20, 30 years ago, we didn't even know what it was. I remember the first time someone said, well, what's your RevPAR? RevPAR? What's a RevPAR? Like, you don't know your RevPAR? No. It's revenue per available room. Well, what do I need to know that for? And they explained it to me. Oh, that's pretty cool. Right? But again, it's a relative number, meaning I can't walk in and look at, what's your RevPAR? 89.9. Is that good or bad? We don't know. We got to compare it to something, right? Make sense? All right. So that was kind of a little bit of an interruption in our little exercise here. So let's move on to worksheet number 2. It does get harder as we go on. All right. Now we're doing what? Net estimate net yield estimate worksheet. This gets really interesting. So Casey, go ahead and read me number 2, please.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Joel knows that under his franchise agreement, he pays an 8% franchise fee and 3% marketing fee on all revenue generated from room sales. Additional fees for using the hotel's CRS are 1% of book revenue plus $2 for each room reserved. Internet service provider related charges paid by the hotel for rooms sold through internet sites, including UberHotHotels.com, are $10 per room sold. Given this information, help Joel complete the revenue estimate worksheet presented below.
Okay. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting because now we're talking about cost of booking, right? Remember what we did last week? When there's a $100 room hotel, not a $100 room? When there are fees associated. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. Okay. If you use the Scott Smith method, you will never get it wrong. Well, you probably you won't get it wrong if you do it the way I tell you to do it. Okay. The first thing we're going to do, this first box, is we are going to figure gross revenue. They're nice enough to give you the rooms sold. And this is per... Now, the thing is we're doing per channel now. So we're just looking at the decision rooms, not the total rooms. So, how are we going to figure out gross revenue for group rooms only? Rooms times rate. Simple as that. So go ahead and do that for CRS and third-party merchant as well. Simply the rooms, the number of rooms you're going to get from that channel times the rate you're going to get from that channel. So on the first one, it's, you guys are looking at this also. Matthew, you done? No? Who's done? Who wants to share? Blaine looks like he wants to. Everyone nod yes or no to, if you agree with it.
Group rooms, gross revenue